Messi broke the World Cup scoring record on day 12. 24 hours later, Ronaldo became the first player to score in 6 World Cups. Neither man will let the other have the last word. The greatest rivalry in world footballing history just got another chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Foot and Review World Cup Daily episode 23. Day 13 is done, and I'm Shaq, joined here today with special James or Tolando 77. How's it going, James?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good afternoon, good morning to the listeners and watchers.
Excellent. Yesterday, we all know Messi broke the all-time World Cup scoring record, and today Ronaldo answered, scoring at the 6th World Cup, the first player in history to do so. Kane missed an open goal, and a 34-year-old Croatian came off the bench to save his country's tournament, rather. Let's get into the 4 games, James. Before we do, listeners, if you would like to support the show, please jump on to buymeacoffee.com/footandreview, and you can just jump in and, if you would like to just support the show. Before we get in, James, Messi-Ronaldo conversation, it'll never end. Where do you stand in the debate? Just today, where do you stand on it today?
Well, I'll cause division, Shaq. I've always been a Ronaldo man myself, personally.
That's fair.
I grew up with Cristiano Ronaldo coming on his first debut for Manchester United. I watched all the match of the days, all the FA Cup games that were on council television. So I'm a big Barcelona fan as well, right enough, but Ronaldo for me, definitely.
Completely fair enough. And that really dovetails very well into our first game. Portugal 5, Uzbekistan 0. Cristiano Ronaldo had a point to prove after Messi broke the all-time World Cup scoring record the night before. In the 6th minute, he latched onto a Bruno Fernandes through ball and found the bottom corner. Nuno Mendes doubled the lead with a stunning direct free kick on 17th minute. Ronaldo added a third on the 39th and another composed finish, which was an Uzbekistan own goal on the 60th minute made it 4, and Rafael Leão thundered in a 5th on the 86th. Portugal 5, Uzbekistan 0. Ronaldo, as we've mentioned, the first player in history to score 6 different World Cups, which is a ridiculous stat in all honesty. I think, James, we've been going backwards and forwards, and I think last week when we had the same exact scenario where Mbappe, Haaland, Messi were all banging the goals and Kane were banging the goals, we just thought Ronaldo would step up to the plate, and just the way things just paired out, this time around there was no holding back, and he was on fire, wasn't he?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, fantastic performance. You mentioned the free kick. Everyone in the world thought he was going to take the free kick, so it was a great dummy, a great bit of play acting as well with the wall. That he was just frustrated that he wanted to hit this as quickly as possible. So it was good. It was an excellent free kick, and you opened up the show by saying he's the first man to actually score in 6 World Cups. Shaq, some might say he's the first YouTuber to score in 6 World Cups.
And to be fair, the other thing that I'm really bummed about this particular game is the fact that there was a free kick routine that Nuno Mendes, Bruno Fernandes, and Ronaldo tried, which would have been a really amazing goal where Bruno Fernandes literally asked Nuno Mendes to hold off the last second and just chip the ball to Ronaldo. That would have been a brilliant way to just cap this tie and just give that extra bit of pizzazz to the game. But I think, look, at the end of the day, let's just peel it back a bit. This is Uzbekistan, who didn't really have the best sort of, I think we've discussed the Uzbekistan versus Colombia game where Uzbekistan had something in them. And even in this game, they did have something in them. They did score a wonder goal that was disallowed. What do you think? Do you think this particular Portuguese team is the team from last week with DR Congo where they drew, or is it the team that can swashbuckle and score 5 goals? The truth is somewhere in between, isn't it?
Well, some might say that's the problem with Portugal. Some days they turn up and absolutely destroy teams. Other days they don't. I felt they got their tactics spot on against Uzbekistan compared to Congo last week. They were a bit more sharper on the ball. I felt, unfortunately, and it was the right call, Bernardo Silva dropped from the squad last week. So I thought it was a good call, gave more balance in the wings. It was very, very good. And then, of course, the subs that they can bring on is just electric. And then, one of the subs gets a fantastic goal as well, a great finish in the top left corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Look, let's just hope that they can continue this particular form, and they will need this sort of form, especially if the table is the way it is. They might end up playing England next, so they would need all the luck that they can get, and also all the star performing when needed. And talking about England, let's move on to the second game that happened today. That was England 0 and Ghana 0. So England had 78.8% possession, the most any team has ever had in a World Cup without scoring since records began in 1966. Ghana had 2 shots all game. England created chances, quite a few chances that they couldn't convert. And the moment of the match came in the 87th minute. O'Reilly headed Reece James's cross against the bar. The ball dropped to Kane at 6 yards with an open goal. James, I know you and me were watching intently. Somehow Kane blazed it over the bar. England are through, but this game just brought back a lot of memories, a lot of PTSD from England's of before. What are your thoughts, James?
Well, yeah, it was quite disappointing from England with all the possession that they had. Also, I don't know if you're aware, Shark, but Mark Gahey had the most passes ever for a player at the World Cup now. I think it was 120. And also as well, he said the most touches out of any other World Cup player. So a record there that was broken, that was unwanted to say the least. You think, Kane would score that, not a problem at all. But, what it was happening doing the rounds at social media the day before was a curse. A witch doctor from Ghana done a curse on Kane. All this you talk on social media, but it makes you wonder now, doesn't it? It was a terrible, terrible miss, without a doubt. England are through, like you say. The last Euros, they scored, I think it was 5 goals in 7 matches. Now they've got 4 goals in 2 matches. The 4 goals against Croatia. England always struggle a little bit with lower ranked teams that play a low block. England want a lot of space in behind, and they didn't really give that on the day, Ghana. And also Ghana's a low scoring team as well. Also as well, Konsa, I believe, with that challenge, he didn't get the ball. So that could have been looked at VAR. But like you said, England's through. I think they'll get at minimum quarterfinals. I hope that they avoid Portugal as well, because I think if they win the group and Portugal win the group, they avoid each other. Yes. So hopefully we can have big clashes in the quarter-final stages.
That's true. Funny enough, England have drawn their second group game at 4 consecutive major tournaments, this is almost like a phenomenon that they've repeated over and over again. So all the black magic or whatever that could have happened, essentially this is England just being England. And England have drawn 23 World Cup games, most of any nation in the world. So it's just it's really interesting. And I think you brought up the Konsa tackle as well. That was a really bizarre one, because on numerous takes, if you look back at it, there's nothing apart from a penalty in a lot of people's opinion, but somehow England just got lucky. Don't know if it's the rub of the green or whether they got some random luck from nowhere. So I think they can go ahead and think about the chance that Kane missed, which I think 9 out of 10 times that ball goes in the back of the net. So that's the bad luck. The good luck, on the other hand, which is extremely good, is the fact that the penalty, which was almost, I think it should have been given at least reviewed, completely missed, and Konsa got away with it, and England got away with it. So I think it's a give and take. It's not the end of the world. It's really not the end of the world. England, it's still early on in the tournament, and they still got a long way to go. So it's not the end. But I think after last week's first half performance and the change in the second half, you would have expected them to be different, but it's a low block. It is a low block. It's hard to break the low block. And the Ghanaian team was physical, extremely organized. And I think in the group chat, we had a conversation about, is England playing badly or is Ghana playing extremely well? And it was somewhere in between.
Yeah, totally, definitely. But again, you would expect a team of England to actually beat them, and also Ghana as well. If you really think about it, pre-tournament they had a shocking bit of form. They went out in the Gold Cup, I believe. The friendlies was terrible. And they're a team that don't score a lot of goals. So really, it should have been a nailed-on win for England. So fair play to Ghana.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I think they haven't had a win in a long time to come into this game and do that against England. Yeah, fair play to them.
Moving along. Also, if I could just, your Manchester United top, it was assistant manager of Sir Alex Ferguson's in charge of Ghana.
Carlos.
So
Good
he
point. You
done,
brought that up, Carlos Queiroz.
yeah,
And if you remember, this is another thing. He's not an amateur manager. He's been. This is probably his fifth World Cup that he's managing, and he's managed Iran numerous times. If you remember, I think it was 2018 World Cup where Iran versus Argentina needed a Messi goal right at the death for them to go through to the next stages. And look, he's done this tremendously well at every World Cup, so it's not a surprise that he's organized the team really well. I think it's just that it was a bit of a shock considering that England just couldn't break through, and it just felt like same old England. But I'm sure the other things around that happened in this game are slightly different, and hopefully it's and England will play better against a better opposition. I do believe. So
yeah.
yeah. We'll move along to the third game that happened today, which was Panama versus Croatia. A dire first half ended with 0-0, with neither team creating much. Dalic made the bold move with the double substitution at halftime, bringing in Budimir and Kramaric, and sacrificing Man City defender Gvardiol. 9 minutes later, Marko Vasilic freed Josip Stanisic on the right wing, and his cross was perfect. And Ante Budimir, 34-year-old, 9 minutes off the bench, prodded in home. Croatia's oldest ever World Cup goal scorer, Livakovic, made back-to-back saves later on to preserve the win. Panama are unfortunately eliminated. They did have a good showing as well. Not the best, but they did try to put in an effort. But Croatia live to fight another day.
Yeah,
Your
they
thoughts?
needed the 3 points. They needed the 3 points badly. Well, both teams needed the 3 points badly. But Croatia, not only with a win, a clean sheet. And you see the goal scorer, it sounds like a Lord of the Rings character, Budimir.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good, just steady performance by Croatia. They got it done in the end, and 3 points all that matters. So game on for the final group stage matches in that group.
Exactly. I think sacrificing Gvardiol, it was almost like at that point in time, at halftime, the manager realized that something had to be done. So I think you could consider it madness or genius. It's considered madness. For example, they did have some issues later on where Pasalic, the goalkeeper, had to save them. So had the goal not happened and had the Croatian team conceded, that would have been considered like a complete suicide almost. But when things actually work for you, it makes it look like a genius. So I'm half in each camp. It could go either way, but hey, Croatia survived. So right now we have England on 4 points, Ghana on 4 points, Croatia on 3 points. So this is a very tight group.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very, very tight group. Be very, very interesting for match day 3 out of that group.
100%. We have Ghana, Croatia on the last day, and Panama versus England. So you would expect England to beat Panama, and Ghana, Croatia will be a belter of a game. All right. We'll move on to game 4, which was Colombia 1 and Dr. Congo, DR Congo at 0. The Congo goalkeeper, Lionel Mapasi Nazao, made 8 saves in a heroic performance that kept Colombia scoreless for 76 minutes. It was brilliant. Like, he just was on fire. And also there was a lot of chances. Like, Munoz had a couple of shots early on in the game that he just was called offside. Quintero came on for James Rodriguez in the 50th minute and immediately changed the game's tempo. On the 76th minute, Quintero slipped through an assist, and Daniel Munoz, whose first-time effort beat Mapsi Nazao, Colombia went ahead, and Luis Diaz again had 2 goals disallowed straight after that, one for a foul and one for offside. Colombia win 1-0, top Group K for now, and qualified for round of 32. This was an interesting game. I think Colombia had a lot more in the tank, but just couldn't deliver because they just kept switching it off and turning it back on. And if you remember when we discussed the Uzbekistan versus Colombia game in the first week, they had the same issue. They were switching off. They just couldn't turn it back on again. And then once they turn it back on, Luis Diaz is an exceptional player. The ease at which he gets the ball into the back of the net is ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. Kane certainly missed his teammate in the England game, could have done with Luis Diaz. But also as well in the Colombia game, they could have been 3-0 up by 15 minutes, Shaq. They really did pepper the goal. And like you said, the Crystal Palace right back, he could have scored 2. And then finally he gets the winner. And even though they beat Uzbekistan, was it 3-1 Colombia? They couldn't really add a flurry of goals, just like you say, concentration. And of course, absolute fantastic performance by Congo's goalkeeper, kept them out. And that right back scored again. I should have took my own advice last time, saying he's got a goal in him. Yeah, definitely. So Colombia are through, with 6 points. So I believe the final game is Colombia and Portugal. So that'll be tasty.
That'll be definitely, and the winner goes through to the top and doesn't face England. So it's all stakes, high stakes for this particular one. And the interesting thing is the way it sits, DR Congo is still alive. They just need to beat Uzbekistan on match day 3. And then we have an opportunity for DR Congo, who are a pretty decent team, even defensively. They were pretty good today. They tried to do as much as they could. They tried to attack as well as they probably could. And yeah, they've put up a good fight. And hopefully they go on to the next stage. And we'll see how that takes them. Right. Moving on to our daily segment, which is the baller, the bottler, and the drama. The baller of today, there's only one, James. Cristiano Ronaldo. And we've spoken lyrically about the things that he had to do, the records he's broken. Today, it was just incredible to see him. We've shared this amongst each other. I was so confident that he would come out and do something today because firstly, it's Uzbekistan. The poor performance that he had in the first game, he had to come out and do something today. And I think early on in the game, there was a cross that came in that he missed from the left wing, that he missed by maybe a small mini inch. He just missed that getting connection with the ball. But straight after that, his touch was back, everything was back, and clearly he was on fire today. Hey.
Yeah, definitely. He really got his mojo back, as Austin Powers would say. So yeah, definitely. It was a good performance by Ronaldo. A better performance as well for Bruno Fernandes as well. But without a doubt, the baller has to be CR7. He's certainly entered the goal scoring party.
Absolutely. He has 10 World Cup goals now, more than any Portuguese player in history, including Eusebio. He has 143 international goals, the most any man has ever scored. It's just a phenomenal record. He just keeps adding things on. And his longevity, I think people just assume that it's Ronaldo, he's doing everything because it's Ronaldo. He's got the longevity because he actually has the desire, and that's incredible. I genuinely feel that having that hunger and desire at that age, when you've achieved everything in football, he's literally achieved everything almost in football, and to have that at 41, when he doesn't need any of this, he can just sit back, put his feet up, and just watch the game just like you and me are watching it. But he's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you think he's got one more in him? Do you think he's got one more World Cup in him?
Well, he did say that, and if he's still goal scoring, he wouldn't rule it out. He said that after the match. I don't know, but listeners, you need to remember, he's a lot older than Messi. So Messi at 41, I'll be very surprised if he's doing the feats that Ronaldo's doing. And also as well, just for our listeners and watchers, you mentioned about the record, Eusebio, Shaq, that record stood for 60 years. 60 years that record stood. So fair play to Ronaldo. He's certainly a baller.
100%. And we move on to the bottler, and I'm being extremely harsh with the bottler for today. And as we discussed, if this man had 10 shots, he would have scored 9 of them with his eyes closed. But today, for whatever reason, the one shot that was essentially required in the 87th minute that he smashed into the ether pretty much. The bottler for today, unfortunately, I hate doing this, is Harry Kane. I'm not being harsh, James.
No, not at all. Agreed. Shaq, he thought it was, since we're in America, I can only assume that he thought it was the NFL, but he certainly got it all wrong. So yeah, definitely, he certainly bottled that chance without a doubt.
6 yards out, open goal, goalkeeper beaten. It was a free shot, and it's just, I think it happens. Look, he's human after all. But I think if you had to pick one person in the World Cup for that ball to drop to, I think 99% of people would have picked Harry Kane. So it's a bit of a shame that it didn't go in. But hey, things happen. This would probably make him fire up for the other games, which are more important than this second round of group stages. So that's the bottler for today. And the drama for today is Ante Budimir is the oldest scoring Croatian player in the World Cup, which at halftime in the Panama game, the Croatian manager made the substitution, brought him on, took out a centre back from Man City, put this guy on. He plays his club football in second division. He's not the name on anyone's team sheet. 9 minutes after coming on, he gets a ball from Stanisic on the right wing. Perfect cross, perfect place, turned it in, scored the goal, and elation. Croatian bench, everyone came running out. It was, I think, just to become Croatia's oldest ever World Cup scorer at 34 years, second division striker, 9 minutes at the bench. It was brilliant. It was a lovely watch. And I think even Luka Modric ran up to him to celebrate with him. And I think this really felt like a moment where the Croatian team needed something. It was a shame to see them struggle that hard. So it was great for them to come out and get something on this day. Hey.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good goal. They needed it badly. And, they've got also, not only on the pitch, but they've got old heads as coaches, Olic, and they've got Karluka as well, the superstars from the past. So they would have been pleased with that goal without a doubt. And not so long ago, Croatia were in the final, 2018 against France.
Correct.
So they're a decent side, and also what they got to the semi-finals of the Euros. So they're a good side. They're maybe aging side now, but they just showed they're still life an old dog. Certainly agree with the drama.
And the cool thing about the games from today onwards or tomorrow onwards is the fact that we'll have not 4 but 6 games, because we're trying to get as many groups games done and dusted. So tomorrow's preview, we have Switzerland versus Canada, we have Bosnia Herzegovina versus Qatar, we have Scotland versus Brazil, which we'll come back to, Morocco versus Haiti, Mexico versus Czechia, and we also have South Africa versus South Korea. So we've got a lot of games going on, James. I think let's just zero in on one of the games that I think is the spiciest amongst all of these games, which is Scotland versus Brazil. Let's do a quick preview. Any hopes, any dreams? Do you think the Tartan Army has got the cojones of sorts to kick Brazil out tomorrow?
Well, it's the hope that kills you, Shaq. Definitely. We do make it hard for ourselves, Scotland. We could have got a draw against Morocco and made it a wee bit easier on ourselves, but no, that's not the Scotland way. The Tartan Army has been fantastic. Really, really happy to see all the scenes and all the Bostons that are just delighted by Scotland. So that's good reputation we have. So I'm pleased with that. Hopefully we can do it. Shaq, it's against Brazil, but like we spoke about the last time, it's not the Brazil of yesteryear, so there is a small chance. But, I've witnessed victories in Scotland that you just you don't think at all that they would win, going back to like a qualification match against France. We beat France twice, 1-0, 1-0. James McFadden wonder goal, absolutely fantastic. Recently we beat Spain as well. So there is a performance in there, but the tactics, I really don't want to go far too defensive. I want to give it a real go. But also as well, Shaq, even if we don't win, we can still go through as a third place. So fingers crossed. I've got the Scotland flag up, made a few arrangements to my background. I need to keep up with the rest of the team. I'm looking forward to the game. 11 p.m. kick-off time, UK time. So hopefully we can sneak a wee draw.
Yeah, I think a draw should be sufficient. I think a draw would really hold you in good stead for you to progress onto the next stage, which is ideal. But it's a tricky one because you just want to move on to the next stage. That's all. Personally, at the start of the tournament, if any Scottish fan was provided a clean entry to the next group stages, so to the next knockout round, I think everyone would have taken it. Hey.
Yeah, definitely. So fingers crossed, come on, because no Scotland, no party. We need to be in this World Cup as long as possible, Shaq.
Completely agree with you. There's a lot more beer to be drank in America, so
Definitely.
Let's hope they stay. Right then, day 13 is done. Ronaldo answered Messi, and we hope this continues for eternity. It's going to stop at some point, and we're going to be so sad that it's done. But let's enjoy the fact that it's happening in front of us right now at the biggest stage there is. Follow us on Instagram at Foot and Review and TikTok at Foot and Review Podcast. A 5-star review on your podcasting app takes 10 seconds, but it means the world to us and helps us reach a larger audience. Share this episode, especially the Ronaldo and Messi chapter. This needs to be heard to anyone that listens to podcasts or is following the World Cup, is enjoying the World Cup. Support the show if you would like at buymeacoffee.com/footandreview. Link will be in the show notes. And day 14 tomorrow, Scotland versus Brazil. Giant killing is on the cards, I hope. We'll find out. See you then.